With everyone. First and foremost, please remain seated while the tram is in motion. Keep all of you and all of your belongings inside the tram at all times. Exiting and boarding will take place at designated tram stops only. So if you do drop anything over the side of the tram, please do not jump off to retrieve it. You can either disembark at the next tram stop or you can come with me to the lost and found at the end of our journey. Norfolk Botanical Gardens, where our mission is to immerse visitors in a world of beauty, lead through environmental action, and inspire through education and connection to nature. A botanical garden is officially an area dedicated to the cultivation, collection, and display of a wide range of plants labeled with their scientific names. Our garden here is the largest in Virginia, spanning 175 acres. Norfolk Botanical Garden is nationally recognized for our specialized plant collections, special events, and educational opportunities. Over here on the right-hand side, you're going to be seeing our bicentennial rose garden.
Rose garden.
The Rose Garden was dedicated in 1976 for the country's 200th birthday. Roses were once more like wildflowers and showpieces, with the common rose as we think of them today not becoming popular until about 200 years ago with Empress Josephine of France, wife of Napoleon. She loved roses so much that she collected over 250 different types. Our rose garden here is one of the largest on the East Coast. It is 3 acres containing 2,200 different plants, ranging 300 different species and cultivars. Species are those roses that occur naturally in nature, while cultivars are those that are man-made through breeding and hybridization. There is fierce competition nowadays to create the most desirable cultivar of a rose. And when a new cultivar does enter the market, the creator typically gets to collect royalties on the sale of that cultivar. Our rose garden here has 2 peak bloom seasons, one of which was in May around Mother's Day, and the other of which is coming up next month in the month of October. Coming up soon to be on your left-hand side is the ongoing construction for our Garden of Tomorrow. Our Garden of Tomorrow will include our new rock entry pavilion and parking garden, as well as our 26,000 square foot Terry Conservatory. The conservatory will include both a desert and tropical biome, both of which will be home to some of the most endangered plant species in the world. Over in the entry pavilion, we're going to have a new farm-to-table bistro that will even grow some of the served food in a rooftop garden. There will also be a second-story indoor-outdoor skywalk that will provide aerial views of the biomes as well as our rose garden. 1,700 individual donors raised around $37 million to fund this project, with $5 million left to go. If you're interested in learning more about our Garden of Tomorrow, or even how to help fund it, you can visit us online at gardenoftomorrow.org, or you can stop by the front desk and speak with our visitor service team. make our way through the main parking lot here, I'm going to be discussing this group of interconnected buildings on the right-hand side, beginning with Rose Garden Hall. Rose Garden Hall is one of the event spaces we have here at the Garden, where we host everything from yoga classes to corporate gatherings and even organizational meetings. It is also one of the 15 wedding venues we have here at the Garden. Coming up here on the left-hand side, this hill is our airport berm. If you take this path connected to the crosswalk, it will lead you to the top of our berm and to the airport overlook. From up there, guests can watch the planes taxi and take off, as well as listen to radio chatter between pilots and the control tower. The berm does serve as an audio and visual barrier between the Garden and the airport. On the berm are planted 300 Satsuki azaleas, all of which were planted by a large group of our volunteers. Satsuki means 5th month in Japanese. You do have to go through our Japanese garden. The Japanese garden itself was dedicated in 1963 for our sister city of Kitakyushu, Japan. It is designed in the hills-on style of traditional Japanese gardens. As we make our way down the main road here, I'm going to be going over a brief history of the garden with you. Norfolk Botanical Garden was founded in 1938 during the height of the Great Depression. Norfolk wanted an azalea garden of its own that would rival those in Charleston, South Carolina, which were turning a profit despite the hard times. Thomas Thompson, the city manager at the time, hired Frederick Hewitt to oversee this project. Originally called the Azalea Garden Project. This project was funded by the WCA, Congress Administration, with a original grant of $76,000. 220 African American women and men were hired to clear and plant the original area of the garden. Some of that original area can be found over here to your left-hand side. This area is now known as Mirror Lake, which includes the WCA Memorial Garden. This area is 22 acres containing 15 and hydrangea gardens. And over here on the left-hand side, if you look all the way to the back of this open space here, you're going to see a bronze statue. This is called Breaking Ground by Kathleen Sparrow, and it was dedicated in 2008 during our first annual WCA Garden Heritage Celebration to honor those original 220 women. As a lot of you probably already know, today is our annual WCA Garden Heritage Celebration. And if you're interested in going and checking out our WCA Memorial Garden over by Mirror Lake, to do that you can get off at this first tram stop and you can take this crosswalk across the road here. Left-hand side, you're going to see some of our big leaf hydrangeas. For these guys, their typical bloom time is in June, so they are quite a bit past their prime. For this species of hydrangea, their flower color is dependent on the pH of the soil, with alkaline soil producing red and pink flowers, while acidic soil produces blue and purple flowers. Also coming up on your left, you're going to get a glimpse of our picnic shelter area, where we have a gazebo and picnic tables available on a first-come, first-served basis. As we our way through the rhododendron garden here, you're going to notice a number of moss paths. These moss paths are living walkways. Moss is a non-vascular, non-flowering plant that thrives in damp-shaded environments. This creates a lush carpet-like appearance that can transform any garden into a serene and enchanting space. Though moss does thrive in damp-shaded environments, it can also survive in a wide range of other climates. This includes on cold, snowy mountains as well as in hot, dry deserts. Moss produces spores and has leaves and stems, but does not have a true root system. It has what are called rhizoids, which anchor the moss to soil, bark, and other objects. Throughout history. This first statue that we see here is the only American of the bunch. His name is Thomas Crawford, and he is most famous for his design of the Freedom Statue, which sits atop the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Okay, we're going to go ahead and keep moving forward. Over here on the left-hand side, you'll get a nice view of Lake Whitehurst. Lake Whitehurst is one of Norfolk's 8 freshwater reservoirs, so it does also serve the city of Virginia Beach. Lake Whitehurst contains around 2 billion gallons of water and has roughly 50 miles of shoreline. For those of you who are local to this area, the road that we know as Shore Drive is actually where the area was dammed off in the 1800s to create Lake Whitehurst. Originally, this area was a tributary to the Chesapeake Bay. There are about 20 different fish species that call this lake home, including walleye, largemouth bass, brant, and even bluegill. The lake does meet the garden on all sides but one, making our garden a peninsula. This is pretty unique for a botanical garden. Now, and the other side, this here is our newest garden. This area is what we are now calling White Oak Wayside, named for both of the large white oaks standing on either side of the town. This will also be our newest wedding venue. This bridge that we are coming across now is the variety of plants, but Cobblestone Bridge was renovated at the end of 2021 and completed in January of 2022. It was our first project towards our Garden of Tomorrow, and with those renovations, it did make the bridge wider and taller, which allows for our boats to go underneath during our summertime boat tours. We're now heading towards the next tram stop of our journey. This will be for Baker Overlook. From here, you can go on up to explore Baker Overlook, or you can take the path to the right, which will lead you on over to the Conifer Garden. The Conifer Garden is a reference garden containing a wide variety of conifer trees and demonstrating how they can be used in landscaping with their different sizes, textures, colors, and shapes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and keep moving forward. Here's one of those other locations named for Isaac and Sarah Lee Baker, both of whom were long-standing members of the garden. This is actually the site where Isaac proposed to Sarah Lee, and later in 1989, he donated funds to the garden to have this area renovated. If you look to the top of Baker Overlook on the right-hand side, you're going to see a rather strange-looking water oak. Don't worry, this tree is perfectly healthy. During the early days of the garden, there was a bench constructed around it. The tree later became root-bound and the bench was removed, and we discovered it had grown a bench of its own. Coming up here on the left-hand side, you're going to see a bunch of beautiful pink blooms. These here are some of also known as the twins. Sawn redwoods are what are considered to be living fossils, and this is because their genetics have not changed much from their ancestors from 70 to 100 million years ago.
Twins on the twin trees, huh? Is it cool?
We are now making our way towards the next tram stop of our journey. This will be where you'll want to disembark if you'd like to visit the World of Wonders Children's Garden. The Wild Garden is a 4-acre area separated into distinct spaces representing different plants from around the world. It is also home to our splash pad, today of which is the last day it will be open for the season. The splash pad will close at 6 o'clock this evening.
அந்த மக்களெல்லாம் பாரு இதே இல்லை பாரு அதனால பாரு எல்லாம் விழுந்துருச்சு இலையெல்லாம் எல்லாமே விழுந்துருச்சு மொட்டையா இருக்கு பாரு.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and keep moving forward. The area of the garden we are entering now is called the Flowering Arboretum. The Flowering Arboretum is so named because it was planted in such a way that there would always be something in bloom. Whether it was trees, flowers, shrubs, or ornamental grasses. In the Arboretum are planted 350 to 400 flowering trees. Among those trees, you may have noticed a couple of state champion trees. These are indicated by green plaques next to their identification plaques, and they do represent the largest of their species in the state. When it comes to state champion trees, this is determined by trunk girth, tree height, and canopy width. Coming up here on the left-hand side, this area with the white picket fence is our kitchen garden. Guests are free to go inside and explore this area, but I do have to remind guests that the edible plants throughout Norfolk Botanical Garden are not for guest consumption. In front of our kitchen garden, we do have a sculpture created by Heather Beardsley, representing a native bee nesting site. This is part of the Virginia Museum of Contemporary Art summertime exhibit called Tell the Bees. We are now making our way towards the Enchanted Forest tram stop. This is where we have our own summertime exhibit called Funky Fungi. So inside the Enchanted Forest, we have a bunch of larger-than-life mushroom sculptures throughout the area. Okay, we're going to go ahead and keep moving forward. The area of the garden we are heading towards now is for the Summer Butterfly House and the Butterfly Garden. The Summer Butterfly House is still open, at least for today, as today is the last day for this event. The Butterfly House, inside you'll find a variety of native butterfly species along with moths, caterpillars, cocoons, and chrysalids. When we first enter the Butterfly House, you'll find an education station on the right-hand side, displaying different types of caterpillar species. Sorry about that. We're waiting for of Norfolk. So if you're out exploring the city later on, keep an eye out for Lily's siblings. Once again, on the left-hand side, you're going to get a nice view of Lake Whitehurst. And if you look very carefully, you'll see a big white bird. That is a great egret. They are one of the many waterfowl that frequent Lake Whitehurst. This area that will be passing on the left-hand side is our Virginia native plant garden. This area is meant to give a snapshot of what the water area looks like before it was settled. Inside, you'll find 4 different plant communities, including a long cypress swamp, as well as a long leaf pine stand. There are a number of paths through this area, including a boardwalk that cuts through and goes along the edge of Lake Whitehurst. Lake Pine is known as the tree of those high waters. It was used so much in the construction of this area that it is now considered an endangered species. Our stand here is about 6 years old, so it does take around 100 for them to mature.
Yes.
This will be our last tram stop before we make our way back to Baker Hall. Okay, we're going to go ahead and keep moving forward.
மரத்துல பாரு ஏதோ வச்சிருக்காங்க. மரத்துல பாரு ஏதோ வச்சிருக்காங்க பாரு. மீன் மாதிரி வச்சிருக்காங்க பாரு. Fishes மாதிரி.
These trees to our left and right are our grape myrtles. Grape myrtles are originally from Southeast Asia and they're known as the 100-day bloomer. Typically blooming from early July to late September in flower colors of white, pink, purple, and rarely red. The garden's first superintendent, Frederick Hewitt, loved these trees so much that he helped to plant about 3,000 of them around the city of Norfolk in the 1930s. This tree is a city tree and flower for the city of Norfolk, and there's about 40,000 of them now planted on city property. If you would like to further explore the garden on your own, you can take this path to the right of the bridge, and that will lead you on over to Nato Tower. Nato Tower is the highest point in the garden, standing at about 60 feet above sea level. And as we come across the end of the bridge here, you can get a glimpse of it to the right-hand side. From up there, guests can get a bird's-eye view of the garden. And with the crepe myrtles are in bloom, it provides an even better view. As you may have noticed, throughout our time here on our tour, just to visit here in the garden, we are currently setting up for our Dominion Energy Garden of Life holiday light show. We're here to open the garden as well. Yes. Tickets for our light show is on sale October 1st through 7th for members only, and the 8th onwards for everyone in general. Our light show is primarily walkthrough, though we do offer a mobility shuttle nightly that'll take guests through the lights who are unable to make the walk so that everyone can enjoy our light show.